Boris Johnson is the new Prime Minister of the UK after beating Foreign Minister Jeremy Hunt to win Conservative Party leadership with 66% of the vote. President Trump, of course, tweeting his congratulations to Johnson after the election results, which were announcing, quote unquote, he will be great. Head of Yahoo Finance UK, Lianna Brinded, is joining us live from London with all of the excitement. Lianna, the pound is under pressure right now after rising slightly earlier this morning. What is the sentiment right now in the UK?
Well, the sentiment for the UK and a lot of the European markets is actually that it's going to be more likely now that there's going to be a hard Brexit or a no-deal Brexit. That is because Boris Johnson has been a hardline Brexiteer from the start, and he is willing to drag the UK out of the EU without any plans for trade or immigration policies in place. That has already been priced in for the past few months, and which is why the pound, even though it has dropped and it's continuing to drop, it hasn't crashed.
Yeah, we have been seeing multiple reports about that no-deal Brexit potentially triggering a recession, and then the pound could even drop to $1 to dollar with the U.S. pound to a dollar here in the U.S. Do you feel as though that is fear-mongering? Is that the worst-case scenario? How do you anticipate this doomsday scenario?
It's absolutely not a doomsday scenario. It is actually quite a factual one. We've had the IMF actually, within the last hour, put out a big report revising down global growth because partly because of this now increased likelihood of this disorderly Brexit. The problem is with that, coupled with the trade war, is that it will disrupt global supply chains. It will mean weaker investment in places like the UK because businesses and investors don't know where their money is going to go, how it's going to be spent, and whether it's going to go into areas that are actually going to grow because there's no rules in place. So really, it's more of a factual one rather than a fear-mongering situation.
Lianna, so is there not going to be another Brexit referendum? Is that kind of off the table at this point?
Oh, well, it's never really off the table. It really depends. Brexit could be cancelled on October the 31st. There is actually a ability for that to happen. But under Boris Johnson, that is highly unlikely. There is, though, as you've probably seen in the last few days, the UK Chancellor, Philip Hammond, actually said that he will quit if Boris Johnson becomes Prime Minister. He's been a very steady hand in how the economy is going to fare, and also in the predictions of how a hard Brexit would affect it. Now, he is said to be leading a mutiny in the background, which could block a hard Brexit from happening. So the battle isn't over yet.
Yeah, Lianna, of course, the comparison that happens time and time again is Boris Johnson, Donald Trump, basically one and the same, clones of one another. When you think about the victory speech that Boris Johnson gave right after he did win, he said, "I say to all the doubters, dude, we are going to energize the country. We are going to get Brexit done." That could have been the words from the mouth of Donald Trump himself. How do you anticipate this kind of bilateral relationship developing? Of course, we know Trump was not a fan of Theresa May.
That's an absolutely good point. So I suppose Boris Johnson, you could say he's a bit of a Diet Coke of Donald Trump. He does have a good relationship with him. In fact, the reason why Trump is such a big fan of someone like Boris is because he's a very hardline Brexiteer. The reason why Donald Trump didn't like Theresa May is that she actually voted for Remain. And she's been trying to toe the line of having a more, I suppose, reasoned deal, try to avoid this no deal Brexit scenario. But Trump, as over the last few months, has been a lot more vocal about he will only do a deal if the UK fully pulls out of the EU. And now for Boris Johnson to be in government, that could possibly happen and, I suppose, set the wheels in motion for a new trade deal.
So fascinating. Thanks so much, Lianna. Keep us updated all day.